Good morning. Welcome to my Wednesday. Before I get into Vlogmas Day 12, I'm going to insert a couple of clips here from last night. I had some leftover rice for dinner tonight, so I've decided to make rice pudding. So I've mixed the eggs, milk, rice, sugar, cinnamon, and some nutmeg together, and I'm going to add some raisins, and then I'm going to put this in the bread maker. Makes yummy rice ready. It smells really good, like cinnamon and nutmeg. And you just kind of fluff it up. Usually I can hold the pan with one hand. It doesn't look too pretty, but I assure you it tastes very good. Oh, and apparently the steam is fogging up the camera lens. Okay, so I put it in a pretty bowl. Try to make it look better, but there's no getting around it, is there? Rice pudding is not a very nice looking dessert, but it does taste good. It's great comfort food. So I'm going to go eat this now. So I am fresh out of the shower on my second cup of tea, and in a few minutes I'm going to go and have some of that rice pudding for breakfast. It makes a good breakfast too. Rice pudding is good anytime, but you got to warm it up first. It has to be warm. So I've been sitting here this morning. Yesterday, all I did was gift knitting, and I really needed to start out my day with something just for me. So I put just a couple of rows on my adventurous wrap this morning. And I'll probably try and do a couple more, but got up a bit late this morning, later than I like, and feel my day slipping away already, and I really want to do a regular podcast later, so I won't be doing too much knitting before that. Speaking of gift knitting, they're done. Finished Cameron's socks last night just before he got home from work, so I will put those to block later today. I'm so happy these are done. It feels like just a real weight off my shoulders. So very, very happy with that. And the reason I got up late is because I stayed up late. I was determined to finish Matthew's first slipper last night, and I don't know why it took much longer than I remember them taking, but I did it. So here's slipper number 1. Whoops. So these slippers have 2 soles, so you knit one sole and then the upper, and then you knit a second sole and you attach it with a 3-needle bind off around the edge. So yeah, that's the part that last little bit took forever last night. So anyway, 1 down, 1 to go. Hopefully pretty soon. Here's how I wash my socks. Nothing too fancy. Just a little bucket of water, some soap or some Eucalyptus. A little dab will do you. And the water is kind of lukewarm. So I'm going to put Cameron's socks in the bucket. She's soaked for 15 minutes or so. And then what I'm going to do is I have a whole pile of socks upstairs from this week that I haven't washed yet. So I'll use that same water to wash those, hang them up to dry. Okay, so they've been soaking about 15 minutes, so I'm just going to gently squeeze some of the water out and just lay them here on an old towel. Oops, dipped them back in. I'm not used to doing this one-handed. So yeah, I've just laid the out on a towel. Then I'm gonna just fold that towel over and roll them up. And just press as much of the water out of them as I can. My cinematography skills are lacking, I know. And then I've brought down a blocking mat and my sock blockers for my men's socks. And so I'm going to unroll this, put these on the sock blockers. And there we have them. It looks like I probably need a second blocking mat because they're taking up a lot of space. So I'll leave them out for now while until after I podcast, and then I will hide them away in the spare room to dry so Cameron doesn't see them before Christmas. So yeah, that's how I block my socks. So I only ever block my socks once, right after I've knit them, so I can kind of even out the stitches and get some nice photos for Ravelry, or if I'm giving them as a gift, they look a lot nicer. Pardon me. So I've just soaked all the week's worth of socks, and I've emptied my bucket into my washing machine, and I am just going to give them a little spin to get most of the water out. So I usually do medium. Doesn't need an extra rinse because the wool wash you don't need to rinse. So I'm just going to put that on and spin out my socks, and then I'll hang them up on the rack. The stockings were hung in the laundry area with care. There's about another week's worth done, and they'll probably sit there till they're replaced by next week's. I always put Cameron's right in front so he can find them as he needs them. I have enough to last me a lifetime, but he needs some replacements during the week. There you go. If there's one thing that's certain, it's that you never know what the day's going to bring you. I unexpectedly got to spend a couple of hours with my other granddaughter today. She was in woodwork class and accidentally sanded off part of 2 of her fingers. So I picked her up at school and took her to the emergency room and stayed with her there until my son-in-law was able to get there and take over. Sounds like she's doing okay. She had to get some stitches, but thankfully it wasn't any more serious. Be interesting to see. She was a little bit worried about how she might write because it's her left hand, and she's also supposed to be at a Christmas concert tomorrow night playing the flute, so I'll have to find out if she's able to do that or not. And then when I got home, I returned a phone call from my mom and ended up on the phone with her for quite a while, and so the result is no podcast today, but I'll try and do that on Friday, and if that doesn't happen, oh well, it'll happen next week. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes life just takes precedence. So what that has meant is I've had a little bit of time this afternoon to work on my adventurous wrap, and I am enjoying that. I think I have about 3 more rows to do before I've sort of done my section for the day, and then it's back to slipper knitting this evening. My son Matthew has a new girlfriend, and so I wanted to give her something for Christmas, but nothing too elaborate. We don't know each other very well yet, so I was asking him about ideas, and he suggested a pair of felted slippers because she thinks his are pretty cool. And so I'm doing more Christmas knitting. I went through my stash. I thought I might have something suitable, and Matt had told me that she likes aquatic colors, teals and blues. So I found this, it looks very green in this light. It's Malabrigo in the Va colorway, V-A-A. And so you can see, maybe you can tell there's blue there too. So I asked Cameron to pick up some navy Peyton's Classic wool from Michael's for me yesterday after work, because it's not very far from his where he works. And so I am going to do the soles in the navy and the cuffs, and then the main body in the Malabrigo. I've never used this for felting before, but it is a feltable wool, and I should have plenty. So that's the plan, and hopefully that's aquatic enough for her. So yeah, I hadn't really planned to do more than 1 pair of slippers, but it's for a good cause,
and they seem pretty smitten with each other, so who knows, maybe this is a future daughter-in-law, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to cast this one on tonight. Even though it's dark, I'm a little bit worried because it's very dark yarn. It could be hard to see, but I thought it might be more bearable if I knit one of Matthew's, one of hers, one of Matthew's, one of hers, to break up the colors, and also her feet are a lot smaller. So that's the plan. So I think I'm going to call that it for Vlogmas for today, and I'll get my different clips downloaded and put them all together and get them up tonight. So have yourselves a great evening. Although by the time you watch this, it might be tomorrow morning. Who knows? Maybe I'll try and see you tomorrow on Vlogmas Day 13, Lucky 13. Bye.